Welcome to Fresh Leadership, the show for leaders and contributors who know the game at work is changing and don't want to be stuck playing by old rules. I'm Mitch Simon. I design and facilitate leadership and team retreats for companies that are growing fast and trying to figure out how to stay human while everything around them gets more automated. In this show, we're not talking about AI from a technical angle. We're talking about what you need to do differently as a leader, a manager, a teammate, in a world where a lot of the so-called smart stuff can be handled by dumb machines. And I'm not doing it alone. I'm joined by two people who have literally built a new game of business, Ronen Gafni and Simcha Gluck. Ronen is the creator of the business game FreshBiz and a TEDx speaker. Simcha is his partner in crime and co-author of the book, The New Entrepreneurs. Together, they've helped thousands of people experience what it feels like to stop playing the old zero-sum game of business and start playing a new one. Today, in our second episode, our number 2, we're going to focus on what we mean by entrepreneurial thinking and the actions you need to take right now to accelerate your value in an AI-driven world. We're going to be looking at what your role is now and how you might see it with AI. So whether you're leading a company, a team, or you're an individual contributor who just wants to show up in a more creative, connected way, you're in the right place. So let's jump in. So Ronen, how are you doing today?
Good. Yeah, it's been a busy day. Yeah.
A busy day. Yeah, as we record, it's my day hasn't started, and Ronen and Simcha's day is coming to an end. And how are you doing, Simcha?
Okay, good. Also, a packed day, starting to settle in, feeling good.
Awesome. Great. So in our last episode, if you all remember, Ronen emphasized that the game of work is changing with the advent of AI. AI forces us to move from a labor-based economy to a creative-based economy, where the focus is on innovation and artistry. So finding your own art, creating your own art, and developing your own art. Leaders must pivot their mindset and ask, how can AI enhance my creativity? Instead of just seeking efficiency gains. If the game is changing, then every piece on the board has to play differently. Today we're talking about entrepreneurial thinking for every single role. So why don't we just jump in, and I want to ask the question, and I'll leave Simcha. I'm going to go with you first. What do we mean by entrepreneurial thinking?
Yeah, it's a great question. The way that we've really defined it in the book, The New Entrepreneurs, and in the FreshBiz methodology is not the typical definition of entrepreneurship from starting a business, but more of turning ideas into reality. And there's a bit of an interface between what takes place inside here and then all the steps and all the movement that needs to take place to be able to actualize it. And in the book, The New Entrepreneurs, we really talk about what entrepreneurial thinking is, turning ideas into reality literally from a parent that opens up a fridge and doesn't have too much in their fridge and has to make their kids lunch and now has to piece together, that piece of lettuce with a little bit of tuna and a little bit of pasta and whip up something. That's entrepreneurial thinking and parenting for sure. To turning ideas into reality in the workplace as an employee, as an employer, as a manager. So that whole idea of being skilled at knowing that you could turn ideas into reality is what we're talking about. And I just want to add one more caveat, which is, and you already hinted at this, Mitch, with your referencing AI as a great source of leverage, is I would argue now that entrepreneurial thinking is almost easier than ever before, because now we could lean on AI to fill in the gaps of what it might have taken to turn an idea into reality. It would have taken a business plan that maybe I couldn't write, but now AI can. Or it would have taken, the right email or the right business development or the right connection letter that maybe I'm not skilled, that now I can outsource to AI to have the speed of turning ideas into reality quicker and more effortless than ever before.
Okay, first of all, I love the fact that you said that entrepreneurial thinking should be easier with AI. So I wanted to go to Ronen about that thought. And then, of course, we need to talk about one day the New Entrepreneur's cooking book of what to do with pasta, spaghetti, and lettuce in your fridge. So, Ronen, So is it easier? Is entrepreneurial thinking easier with AI?
I think that there is like it's one more, tool. It's one more or a bunch of more data points that you can use when you weave together all the different points to come up with a new idea. So if you have the skill, then it becomes much easier to be an entrepreneurial thinker. If you still don't have the skill, so I don't know if you know what to do with this new amazing tool. So it's not a standalone feature that makes you more entrepreneurial. It's another tool. It's another agent. It's another source of information that once you want to get things rolling, it's much easier. So of course I might open the fridge, look inside, and start connecting the dots and see what's possible. Or I can take a picture and GPT will tell me what's in the fridge and it will come up with all kinds of cool ideas. But I have to be entrepreneurial enough to take that picture and start a conversation and question what's relevant and know if it's relevant for my kids specifically. And then it's a really enhancing tool. So yeah, it's great to have it, but I don't think it takes off the need to actually develop that muscle memory around being able to think like an entrepreneur. That won't be taken from us, hopefully soon, so we can still be the ones making the thinking and not just collecting the data.
So Ronen, what would entrepreneurial thinking, if we were when you guys built that game, AI wasn't as prevalent, let's just say.
Yeah,
it was there. It's everyone. You hear all these podcasts. I was using AI in 1998.
Yeah.
Sure, you were. What would entrepreneurial thinking then? How would you define it in a world where there is this easy tool to use called AI or ChatGPT?
Well, for me, entrepreneurial thinking was always about this multidimensional thinking, the ability to connect different dimensions of life, as we do in the FreshBiz game. So if you want to be really successful in the game, it's not enough just to understand how to build the right businesses on the board or just how to use your action cards. Like when you start putting all those different dimensions together, so I can start this business, but if I'll use this action card and I'll take advantage of the opportunity that is just open on the board and I'll have a conversation with someone else around the table and we can form something together, then you experience the quantum leaps. So AI is another dimension that basically serves you a very powerful and additional tool to get more information so that you will have more dots to connect. It's another dimension that helps you execute things faster. But you still have to do this multidimensional thinking. You still need to understand how to think in dimensional layers. You still need to see all the different opportunities. You still need to be able to connect the dots. So again, it's enhancing the experience, but I don't think it takes off the need to actually learn those skills and practice this. And I think the problem is that we don't learn it. Not at school, not in university, usually not in the workplace. We don't encourage this kind of thinking. And this is why most people don't actually do it.
So I'll ask both of you gentlemen, so if you were then to teach that right now, and we always say with FreshBiz, the reason why we're not teaching you this is because it's hard to teach it. You have to experience it. But if you were to teach, and the course is multidimensional thinking, creative thinking, with AI, what would you be teaching in that course? What would you be asking people to do that they probably wouldn't do, let's say, normally?
Well, if I could just take a stab at it, I'll give you the two questions that we ask in the book, The New Entrepreneurs, and then I'll sort of update it to answer what you just asked, which I think could be really good. In the book, when we speak to different entrepreneurial thinkers across the spectrum in a whole range of different professionalities and different work-related things, we ask them, what game are you playing and what does winning look like? Because when you can very, very much be fine-tuned into what game someone's playing and what winning looks like, well, now I can help, right? Because now I can figure out if either AI personally can help or maybe what connection I might be able to make for that person because I've communicated in a way that's very specific. So I would say, two great questions. Like if you are right now an employee in a company, in a corporation, in a big business, two great questions that you would ask is, how can I upgrade and optimize myself right now in this role? Like what do I need to do? Like right now to help upgrade my position here? Do I need to get better at X? Do I need to, figure out if there's a CRM that might organize me a little bit better? Do I need to figure out that maybe I don't even know what I don't even know? So maybe I should ask what questions I'm missing that can help me be better. But certainly, what do I need to do to upgrade my position? And then the second question is, how can I today figure out a way to optimize my whole team just from the role that I play? So that allows me to think on an individual level, but it also allows me to think in terms of my relationship with the others around me, what I need to do. Hey, do we need to have some sort of board up in the common room? Can we work better on Slack or Circle or maybe our Digital Villages project to create more of a community? Like what do I need to function to optimize my position, but what do I need to do for the team to have all of us be upgraded? And I think that allows us to then start asking the right questions. And this is my favorite part, and you guys have all seen this too, right? When people suggest you prompts that you can ask ChatGPT or all the other things out there, which is like, and they're fantastic because they're so not obvious. Like, hey, I'm in this role right now. Can you please interview me with up to 30 questions so that you can get a holistic perspective on what I'm doing, and then tell me areas that you see that I might be able to upgrade. And then I can look at that, and then it draws out from me and then helps supplant some of those ideas. So you're really working in tandem with the machine, a combination of natural intelligence and artificial intelligence to really right here, right now, optimize self and optimize team.
I like that, which is, I love those two questions. What game are you playing, and how do we define winning? And of course, the game is definitely changing, and I'm seeing in some parts of those questions, the answer has a lot to do with, I actually need to discover for myself these days what is the game that I'm playing, and what is my value, which we're definitely going to go into, and what does winning mean for me? And I'm going to go back to Ronen on multidimensional thinking. Is entrepreneurial thinking just about thinking? Because I know that when you shared about multidimensional, a lot of it was conversation. And I know that, Simcha, a lot of the conversation you're going to be having with the machine it's very transparent, it's very authentic. And that the AI might tell you to have, to present new ideas, to have conversations you've never had before. To actually have what we know in the game FreshBiz, you have to have conversations that you probably have never had with your team before. So the question, Ronen, is entrepreneurial thinking just about thinking, or is it actually doing something as well?
So of course it's about doing. The thinking is just like step one. So we will actually do the things that we put some thought into it. And I think that at some point it becomes an instinct. So you don't even, go through the thinking phase consciously. You kind of you just do things and then you understand that what you just did was a multidimensional thinking move. And I do want to say that, following what Simcha said regarding having a conversation with the AI regarding what's possible for me, I think it's a great exercise. Because, there are some really cool attributes to AI, for now at least, that works for our advantage when we want to create a more enhanced thinking process. And one of them is that is nice. It's usually nice, right? It won't put you down on any idea that you have. It will probably say, wow, that's a great idea. Let me add to it. Now, it might sound like sometimes a bit phony or non-authentic because it's always happy to see you, okay? But it's so not common in a regular conversation regarding creative ideas that it's a nice relief, right? So usually when you come up with an idea to your team, the instinct is yeah, but that won't work because of, and they put you down immediately. Not intentionally, just the way that we are wired is mostly like this. And then you shut down, you kind of okay, I'll put this aside. When you have this conversation with AI, you have no one to put you down. So you can really go deeper with the idea because we all know that the basic idea, usually the initial idea, it's kind of like an undeveloped baby. Like there is something into it, but we have to keep working on that. And the conversation with AI, since he has the patience and the excitement for you, so you can really roll down an idea without someone stopping you. So that's a really cool thing, because if I'll ask the AI, for example, okay, what can I do better in my job, or as you know me, and let me tell you a bit more about the other teammates, and let's think together, we will actually come up with ideas. And then it throws me into ideas. And that's a good process. 10 minutes before we started recording, I went to my GPT and I talked to my GPT about all the ideas that I have. Not because I think he's like very, very smart on that, because sometimes he is and sometimes he doesn't. But I would like for him to have the right context that when I come up with the right question, he knows about me enough so he can really give me a relevant answer. So I came to my GPT and I said, okay, based on everything you know about me, what's my next $1 million move? And like in 2 minutes, he said, look, you don't have to come up with any new product, but if you take FreshBiz, you'll take the digital villages technology, and you'll take the tokenomics that you created for entrepreneurs, and you'll offer these to communities as a package that will come under your brand, that will give them the mindset, the tools, and the economy to thrive. You have $1 million business here. Okay, that's a nice conversation that I would like to have. And what he did is exactly this. He knows and understands the different dimensions that I have in life, and he knows how to put them together to create something which is coherent enough to keep the conversation going. And I think that's what's so powerful about this. So if you'll put inside enough information and you'll ask him to be an advisor, because I just had this morning a conversation with a company that I'm going to do a workshop for tomorrow on how to become more creative and how to bring this entrepreneurial thinking into the business. And usually the problem is that accounting never talks to marketing, that never talks to product, that never talks to service, to actually bring this multidimensional thinking, this multi-layer thinking into the business. Now, usually you don't see people from accounting taking the time to sit with people from marketing and let them know what they think they can help them based on what they know. And you definitely don't go around and ask, okay, who are the musicians? Do we have any biologists in the company? Do you have any people that really love to cook? I'd like to prick your brain on what's the best way to build the next customer experience. We are so narrow in the way we think, and we are so siloed in our departments. And you can ask AI to be that. You can ask him to think as a musician. You can ask him to think as a biologist. You can ask him to think as an accountant, and you can ask him to be a customer experience expert and bring a dilemma, and let's see what happens. And that's very powerful.
So I would, we're 19 minutes through this podcast. A person could walk away today and say, oh, entrepreneurial thinking is ask my AI what is creative. Now, what we know in the game, and we've seen the game, I remember playing the game with Sony PlayStation, and in the first minute, one of the gentlemen from Japan said to the whole room, what if we did this? And nobody listened to him. So this was probably the smartest man in the room. He had the most creative idea. So let us say that he checked his own AI, he found out the most creative idea. He did do entrepreneurial thinking, yet he executed nothing. So what would you tell listeners who are saying, oh, okay, I listened to you guys. I went in, I taught the ChatGPT who I am. I asked the most creative questions, but I'm not making any progress. Because, go ahead, Simcha.
Yeah, I just wanted to, so I want to do two things at the same time. I want to answer your question, and I also wanted to follow up what Ronen shared, which I thought was really clever too, with also just another practical story so that we can represent what he says, multidimensional thinking, what that actually means. Because it would be a real shame if the takeaway is I need to outsource questions to AI more so it could learn more about me. That's a part of it. But the whole idea of entrepreneurial thinking included in that is entrepreneurial execution.
Okay.
And that's really where the rubber meets the road. That's where I interface with society and with people to better myself. Just I'll tell you transparently, I've been through different phases of my life where I needed to process through different things, through different traumas and things in my life, and sometimes it meant that I was alone. And some of the sage advice I've been given in my life is that I am the best version of myself in social contexts. So as nice as it is sometimes to have the peace and quiet of solitude, we really can get who we are when we interface with other people. So I wanted to just share a story about multidimensional thinking. This happened with Ronen and I and FreshBiz close to about 15 years ago, but it still remains a really classic story. And you'll hear why. One, it was before AI was there, but two, it really just shows you execution, which is we had new training partners in Europe. And this was a time where, for whatever reason, shipping was going to be a pain, and they needed games for an immediate workshop within a span of 5 days. And we did everything we possibly could. We called every shipping company to find out that it would take probably 7 to 10 days at best and cost us over $1,000 to be able to make that happen. And even for the $1,000, we would miss the time that they needed it. And this is back when we were a lot more on Facebook. Facebook was still everything it was going to be, right? And we said, okay, we have a challenge here, right? We got to get them games. They have a really cool workshop for a really big company. It's going to make every one of us look good, right? Cool case study, cool partners, FreshBiz. This is such a win for everybody. It's going to be fantastic. And the dilemma, we can't get them games through shipping for 7 to 10 days. It's going to be over $1,000. So we said, you know what? Let's create a story out of this.
In 2 days or something like that.
In 2 days, we said, let's turn this into an amazing story. Let's have this be a multi-dimensional win. So we reached out to all of our friends on Facebook and we said, hey, if you would like, to fly to Spain, okay, and we'll cover the nicest hotel and the nicest car. We'll take you out to restaurants. You got a budget. Because we did the math and we realized it's going to be cheaper or the same price to give someone an epic life experience as it would be to ship it and have it get there late. But if you're going to be that person that we choose, you got to give us you got to write a whole thing and tell us why we should choose you. And I'm telling you that we had more than 100 people submit why we should choose them on Facebook. So it just blew up the post. The post blew up. People were sharing it. These guys are so cool. Wow, we want FreshBiz. How cool is this thing, FreshBiz? We got to check it out. The whole thing blew up. People wrote us crazy reasons why they should be the person that we should hire to go take our games to Spain. It was Mitch. It was such an awesome story. And the girl that we chose, her name was Libby, happened to be a really cute girl and really social. And that certainly looked good for all the aesthetic reasons too. But she was really sweet and she was so excited about it. And we chose her. And then we said, hey, you're going to be our gal. We're going to choose you to go do this. Have an amazing trip. We just ask afterwards that you create an amazing post and write about your experience. So, Mitch, when I tell you that Ronen and I got so much mileage on just this mundane act, ship games to training partners that they can run workshop, but we turned it into such an experience. It blew up on Facebook. People were sharing the post. People were ordering workshops. People were like, I want to work for these guys. I want to hang out with these guys. How cool, Libby. Is this going to happen again? Can I do it next time? It's like... And it just goes to show you that it was about the thinking, but it was about the execution and really making it happen. And I got to tell you, we gave Libby the most epic experience possible. Our training partners were blown away by how we made that thing happen. They really got the ethos of what FreshBiz thinking is about. And that was really important to us too. And boy, did that pay dividends. And what did it take? It took creativity that Ronen talked about. And very often we're in places that don't encourage that creativity, or that they scorn it, or they frown on it, or there's a disdain. But if the sky's the limit and you have an endless palette that you can play with, that was the artistic project that we did with Libby. With Libby doing a mundane shipping to our partners in Spain, and that's what I meant by multidimensional thinking, and that's what Ronen meant by multidimensional thinking. And that's what I think is a big part of it. It's the execution part.
Great. So multidimensional thinking includes that execution.
I want to say something about this because, first of all, thank you, Sim, for bringing this up because I forgot all about this. such a great memory.
It was so cool.
Really, it was such a great event. And I just want to give a tool for people that are listening to this. What's the process that we went through so other people can do that as well. And the thinking is like, it's what we call in FreshBiz the win to the win power thinking. The question that we're asking ourselves is, how can we create multiple wins for multiple players on multiple dimensions of life? So the basic thinking is, okay, I gotta get the games from A to B, and it's gotta be as fast as possible, and we'll create one win. We'll ship the game. Okay? It's not a lifestyle experience for anyone. It's not a PR experience for anyone. It's very technical. But when you start thinking differently, so it goes like this. Okay, how can we include more people? Right? So it's not just like the shipping company here. Can we put someone else in this game? Right? Yeah, let's put someone from our community. How can we make it really fun? So let's pay them for like a really nice hotel, and let's give them some money for expenses. Right? How can we? So I can call some friends, and maybe one of them would like. No, but how can we make this also into a PR event or a marketing event? So let's post it on Facebook. Let's ask people to actually write us why they should be the people. So let's create a game within the game, and all of those are little wins, okay? And what's amazing about those wins is that nobody loses when someone wins. Okay? That's like the FreshBiz win in to the win power. Okay, nobody has to lose. It's only win. So every technical task that you have in your business, and businesses has thousands of those, thousands, if not tens of thousands, depends on the size of the business. Each one of them can become an experience. Each one of them can become a multidimensional win for more employees, for more customers, for more suppliers, if you actively, and this is like the proactive part of it. It's not like just the thinking, it's the actually proactive. How do you proactively looking to expand the pie of win for more players on more dimensions of life? So how can we make more money out of it? How can it be a life experience? How can more people be involved? How can this be a marketing move? How can this be fun? How can this be? Everything is about this multidimensional thinking. So really, it's sometimes when we say multidimensional thinking, that might sound very analytic, or you have to have like a very specific, mindset for that. At the end of the day, in real life, it's very gamified. It's to have a gameful mindset, is to make something more fun. It's to make something more exciting. It's to include more people in the game. It's how you gamify your life experience. That's basically the idea behind it.
I love that. So bring your creative expression to life. I don't even like the word requires, but it includes, let's just say. How can we make it more fun? How can actually this be a PR win? How can we include more people? And how can we make this a great experience for more people? And there always is that opportunity to do that.
Exactly.
So my last question is every person's role I'm going to ask this big expansive question. With AI, is every person's role now to be more creative, to bring more self-expression? So my role might be vice president of, let's say, commerce, or executive director of marketing, or executive director of accounting. With AI, is it challenging us, or is it requiring of us that we must bring more creativity, or we are dinosaurs in this new world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think when, look, our experience when we talk to HR managers or chief learning officers, or we read the reports and we see the things, for sure, everybody's looking for more engagement in business, for more engagement at work. And, it's become a buzzword that almost becomes just a vapid statement. How do we increase engagement? Okay. It's not such a one-dimensional question. It really is. There's a lot of things to it, right? So certainly the idea of it is for people to feel less positional. In other words, if all that I am is just like a human robot showing up to my little cubicle, we understand that engagement's not going to be there, because the person's lacking their human experience. Maybe they're doing something for money and they're getting paid, and that's there, right? But the satisfaction is missing and the human soul is missing. People want to be more than just their function. They want to be more than their role. I think that some of the best business cultures out there are the ones that know that. They know that intuitively. They really put their people first. They want to have the community. They want to have, where people care about people. It's not just, you're not just showing up to be a function. And obviously, it's important to say this, there certainly are jobs where it literally is just a very function-based job. And what I would say is I think that even in those positions, the question becomes, how can I still do my art? How can I still sing my solo? How can I still do my little dance? How can I bring it in that role? And going back to what we're talking about, there are definitely tools to be able to allow us to think about how we can be bigger than just the function that we produce, how we can really be alive in the business, how we could be alive in the work that we do, how we can be alive in the team, right? And I think that those are really healthy, good attributes that people nowadays should really look to, because it'll make everything more meaningful. I remember, Ronen, when we had just come out with our book, so we sort of put together an event in New York City, okay, and it was a really fun event. It was like an influencer event at a time that influencers were still so early. It wasn't a thing, and it definitely wasn't what it is today, And one of the things that we did is we found this really cool lady in the city, and she had one of the first amazing 3D printers. She printed for us on a 3D printer this die, okay, like a dice, you know what I'm saying? But instead of it being a dice that was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we chose six different expressions on how to make things more fun. So it's like I still have the dice on my desk somewhere. I got to find it, but one of it was turn the music on. I tell this to my kids. Oh, I don't like doing chores around the house. Yeah, who does? But we do it. And if you want to make it more fun, just put the music on. And now you're rocking out to the music while you're doing your chore. So, wow, throw the dice. If I'm nervous something's not going to work out, and you throw the dice and you roll another dice. Okay, so this proposal didn't go through. I'm going to just let me just send out one more proposal. There's different elements that you can do to get out of just time to make the donuts and into let's vitalize the role that I'm in. How do I do that? And it really can be just as simple as turning on the music or having a contest or just announcing something.
Okay, I love the question is, how can I do my art? I think that's going to be our through line for this podcast that is coming from nothing into existence. It's how can I do my art? Is there anything you want to add to that one in this question of, is it a requirement of each person's role now to, let's say, provide entrepreneurial thinking, to do their own art?
Well, first of all, I would like to take rid of the word requirement.
Okay.
Because it's not that fun.
All right.
And if we're talking about gamifying things, so let's not talk about what you have to do. Let's talk about what's opening up for you, what's possible for you, right? Because it's really funny when you look at it, because you say, okay, there is AI, and AI save a lot of labor, as we said on the previous chapter as well. Now, if it saves a lot of labor, you should see a lot of people having a lot of free time now, right? Because it took off the labor. Surprisingly, you don't see, people in organizations say, whoa, all of a sudden I have 3 hours a day that I don't have to do what I used to do 3 years ago. Wow, what would I do with those 3 hours? They somehow find more tasks to do, even though AI is doing some of those tasks, right? So you can either say, okay, this is an endless game of I will always have tasks to do until I will have no tasks at all because I'm out of job, right? Or you can say, okay, something is happening. Using AI and doing all that stuff, wow, I have a free hour now, okay? I have 2 hours that now I can take off my schedule because I don't have to do that hard work that I used to do. What do I want to do with those hours? And here is where you become proactive, creative, entrepreneurial, gamer in the play. And you say, okay, maybe I should go to another department and start a conversation and see how I might help them. Maybe I can think more about our customer experience and come up with some ideas that I have. maybe I can be more proactive regarding what other added values I can create just to better express myself, to do a better job, to really enhance the experience, to expand the pie. Like, let's proactively do this. Unfortunately, we don't see so many people do it, even though we are already 2 years into the AI revolution. For some reason, they always have tasks to do. Right? So who cares if it's like a steam engine and we can manufacture now products in a factory like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, or it's an AI, or it's flying saucers that whatever. Right? If you're always going to find more tasks and keep busy doing stuff, then nothing that comes along makes a difference until you have no job at all. But if you're actually already in your job, in your position, please understand how AI frees some of your time. Take that time and put some proactive thinking and acting into it that enhance whatever you're doing. The moment you do it, and the good news is that it's so easy to stand out because nobody does it. So it's so easy to stand out. So you will either find out one of two things, right? One, which I got to experience when only once in my life I worked for a bigger company than 10 people, right? And I've been there for like 6 months. And I had enough free time because they asked me to do this programming task that took me about 2 weeks, but it took about 6 months for the company to actually, connect the other dots so we can actually do something. So I had a lot of free time. So what I did with my free time is I came to the vice president of the company every month or so with an idea. Okay, let's do this. Then I have this idea. Let's do this. This will help the customers, and this will help the team, and this will. And then she would always say to me, "Okay, but no." And then after another month, okay, I have an idea. Let's do this. And I'm, making a presentation, and I'm showing up, and I'm doing this. The third time she said no, I said, "Okay, awesome, bye." Right?
Bye.
I have nothing else to look for here because you don't get me. Okay, you don't get to actually enjoy like my proactivity, my creativity, my genius. I'm just wasting my time. So one thing that might happen is that you'd find that you are not in the right place. Awesome. Go find yourself another place that would actually like to benefit from everything that you are bringing. You will probably make more money in another place that actually see your value and can monetize your value in a better way. Second thing that you might find out is that, wow, you're stepping out of the crowd and people are paying attention to you. So if they'll have to let someone go, you're not going to be the first in line, that's for sure, because you're valuable now. You might even come up with good ideas. The team will appreciate you more. Maybe you'll create more value in the company. You will for sure enjoy your position more. So it's win for everyone. So really take the 1 hour, 2 hours a day, a week, whatever. Really look for them, actively look for them, because we can always fill the calendar with like endless tasks. It's a never-ending task reality we live in. Okay, it's never over. And be proactive. So that's my advice on what you can actually do. I don't know if it's a necessity. If necessity makes you work, see it as a necessity. If passion makes you work, see it as a passion. If opportunity makes you work, then see it as an opportunity. But there is this opportunity, and this is part of the entrepreneurial thinking, is spotting opportunities. And everything that happens with AI now, the opportunity is not just what you can do with AI. It's what you can do with your time that you saved using AI to enhance your life. So that's not less important than actually knowing to use the tool, is to using your time that you have now because you use the tool.
Yeah, those are
Nice.
great stories and a great wrap up. I want to wrap up now. We started this podcast because we all agree that yes, there is a new tool there that's called AI. There have always been tools. There was, I started early on in the mobile phone industry with Nokia. So that was a new tool. A mobile phone was a new tool. The browser on the phone was a new tool. The AI is a new tool. It's 2026 as we record this. There are still people who, I've got 10 more hours in my week. I'm going to use that to do more work. I think the challenge, this is one of the questions I was going to ask that I didn't ask. The challenge, I believe, is is it's always been self-expression. So am I willing to be that confident to take that much risk to actually put myself out there? I believe that AI is the canary in the coal mine that is saying, look, dude or dudette, there is now a tool out there for you to be fully self-expressed, for you to spend some time on building your art. You need to go figure out what your art is. You're going to bring a greater value, or you're not going to bring that greater value. You're going to bring the value I think that is necessary today. When you take the time to recognize, and I think this is where FreshBiz is going into a different millennium, when you recognize that we now have tools for you to express yourself fully, you still need to make that shift. You still need to have that, what we're calling entrepreneurial thinking, to understand that it is your job, no matter what your role is, to think entrepreneurially. And number two, to utilize your art to express yourself, to bring other people along. Whether you're the leader or whether you are the new person, who is just making widgets. And that is, I think, the purpose of this podcast, for people to hear the stories and for people to start to challenge themselves to bring their own art. And so that's our challenge. And our challenge next week will be to actually look at concrete steps to understand what your own art is and how to bring that forward. So with that, I wanted to thank you, Ronen, for your wisdom, and thank you, Simcha, for your wisdom, and also for all of your recipes. I know that we've got the pasta, and then of course, Simcha, you brought in the donuts. So this episode is being brought to you by Starkist Tuna of the Sea and Krispy Kreme Donuts, and we want to thank you, all of our listeners. Until next time, when we see you on our next episode of Fresh Leadership. Thank you.